Hey everyone. I wanted to make a short video to talk about the proposal assignment. We aren't meeting in class this week because of Labor Day, and so I just want to make sure the assignment is really clear, and I'll show you a couple of examples at the end of this video as well. So first, let's talk about the purposes of this proposal assignment. First of all, it commits you to your topic and to your research question. You can still tweak your research question, but after your proposal is submitted, you're committed to your topic. It's also going to show the progress that you're making in your research this week. And it will demonstrate that your research question, your topic more broadly, will work for this kind of exploratory project. Okay, I want to look at the assignment now. This is page 4 of the exploratory packet, the exploratory project handout that I gave you in our last class. So before you begin writing your proposal, you should have gotten my approval on at least one of your tentative research questions that you emailed to me. It's possible that you might email me with a whole new research question. Let's say that you're completely inspired by a brand new idea that you heard on the news or something. That's fine. You can still email me another research question if something inspires you. Okay, but just make sure that before you submit your research proposal on Thursday that I have approved it. Okay, I just don't want you to waste time with this assignment on a topic that's not going to work. You should also have done enough research to know that you'll be able to find good sources on both sides of the debate. Okay, if you're not finding good sources on both sides of the debate, I think there are two possibilities. One is that they're out there and you just need my help or Bill's help or another librarian's help to find them. So don't hesitate to ask for help. Another possibility is it's just not going to work. Okay, and if that's the case, you should try again with a different research question. All right, so do all of that so that by the time you sit down to write your proposal, you're confident in your research question. So it's going to tell me your plans for your research, and it's going to commit me to your topic, as I mentioned. It should be about 250 to 350 words. Now, I just realized that this little list of required content is slightly different from what's in the rubric. So let's go with what's in the rubric, because this is what I will fill out when I grade your proposal. Okay, so it should have a research question that's appropriate for this kind of research project. If I've approved it, then that's a yes. Okay, you should have at least 3 relevant sub-questions. Show me that you're thinking about the kinds of things that you need to know in order to do well on this research project. So for example, if I went with the research question about what impact eating meat has on the planet, on the environment, I might have a research question about how much beef and pork Americans consume every year. I might have a question about how much water or how many resources those animals consume, like how much goes into producing a pound of meat. I might also have a research question about how much waste is produced by those animals. And answering those questions will help me answer my overall research question about the impact on the environment of eating meat. Okay, now your research questions can change as you research, but those are just things to get you started. All right, then you should have a brief explanation of how you will carry out the research. By this, I mean, what tools will you use? Will you use Google, OneSearch? What kind of sources do you expect to find? Are you planning to look for government documents? Are you planning to look for newspaper coverage? And then somewhere in this proposal, you should cite at least one source that's been consulted so far. You don't need a fancy works cited list. You could just say something like, according to an article titled blah, blah, blah in the Wall Street Journal, cite that source and what it says, cite the author, okay? If you're not sure how to cite authors in the piece itself, the syllabus tells you how to do that, and I can help you too. All right, here's the next thing. The proposal demonstrates that the writer is open-minded about both sides of the debate. If it's clear that you're only focused on one side and that you have a position, that's a problem. You shouldn't have a position yet. You should be researching both sides and come up with your position based on your research, okay? It should be clear and generally error-free. It doesn't need to be perfect. Should be about 250 to 350 words long. Please don't exceed the length maximum because I want to be able to get these back to you efficiently. And obviously you shouldn't plagiarize. If you have questions, let me know. All right. When you get your proposal back, you'll submit it through D2L as usual. And then you'll follow up and go back to your assignments folder. Always this semester, you go back to your assignments folder to view my feedback. I will tell you probably that your proposal is approved. If not, if there's some sort of problem, I might want you to revise it and get it back to me. Again, you shouldn't have your proposal completely rejected as long as your research question has already been approved. Okay, so that's the assignment. Let's take a look at a couple examples. Here in content for week 3, I have a link to a couple of samples. And so let's take a look. There's also a module in content with sample materials. All right. So remember, whenever I give you a sample in this class, that you shouldn't copy from them, obviously. They're not templates where you just take parts of the sentences and then personalize them like a Mad Lib or something. You write your own, but I just want you to see a couple samples of how this is done. Also, I have done some highlighting here just to point some things out, but you shouldn't highlight your own. Okay, so here the writer's research question is, should schools adopt a year-round schedule? I think he specified later that he meant K through 12 schools. But his question is a little broad to start with, and that's okay. So here is the summary of what he's learned. He's learned that it doesn't mean more school days, it just spreads out the days more evenly. He describes the debate on both sides. It isn't too clear about what the for side is and what the against side is. All right, he cites a source. And then he gives the sub-questions, which I've highlighted in blue. Would a year-round school be more expensive? How would it impact families? And are students in a year-round system smarter than the traditional system? I think he means, do they achieve more academically? Again, these questions are just helping him think through his research. They aren't necessarily things that he ends up answering in his actual paper, because your research takes you on new paths, okay? And then he's got a research plan here, but his plan is pretty vague, actually. I plan on reading more articles. We know that, right? But otherwise, this is a solid proposal. Here's one more sample to look at. In this one, the writer asks, do red light cameras aid public safety? I don't know if you've ever gotten a ticket because you ran a red light at an intersection. And I don't know if you're still mad about it, like maybe I am, but he wants to know if they actually make the public safer, or if they generate revenue, and that's all. So he gives us just a quick overview of the debate. Some municipalities swear by their effectiveness in reducing traffic accidents and violations, but numerous studies show the opposite. He summarizes what he's learned. Now, what he should do here is cite the sources of what he learned. That's what's missing here, okay? When in doubt, cite your source. In this case, he should cite an author who says this, right? Let us know where this research is coming from. His sub-questions are highlighted in blue. Have the rate and type of accidents changed at intersections that have the cameras? If so, how? What kind of revenues are being generated, and where do they go? That last sub-question is actually 2 sub-questions. And then he's got a nice specific research plan about using library databases and scholarly journals, and he names specifically a couple of the databases. He also mentions government websites. So this is a good research plan that fits his topic. Okay? So I think that's all I wanted to say about your research proposal. As always in this class, if you have any questions, Bill and I are both available to help. This is a small, it's considered a formal assignment for the purposes of the word count toward formal assignments and meeting that requirement. Your audience is just me, so you can, you can use a less formal tone if you want to, that's fine. Just cover the required content that's listed in the rubric of the assignment, and you should be in good shape. If you're stressed out, if this isn't coming along well, if there's any way that we can help, just let us know. Have fun.